Billed as an all-court paddle, the Franklin FS Tour LE Dynasty features an elongated shape and is offered in 14 and 16 millimeter options. These thermoform paddles weigh in between a whopping 8 and 8.8 ounces and feature a Polypropylene Core and raw T700 carbon fiber hitting surface. Foam injected into the outer edges allow a more generous sweet spot while also adding stability. For a limited time, these paddles also come with a protective carry bag and surface eraser. Jason, we're indoors. It's been pretty windy. We're in the warehouse playing. We set out some court markers, which you can get at totalpickleball.com. Now, as someone who's old enough to have watched the original Dynasty TV show, give us your thoughts on this Dynasty.
Yeah, when I started playing, everything was in black and white.
Yeah.
But yes, first impressions of these paddles, I had different first impressions because I felt like they were so different. With what I liked similarly was the elongated face. This is what I'm used to, so what I like. So I like that about both of these paddles, and I like the feel of these paddles. They felt pretty solid, pretty firm, and not too muted for me. Now, with the 14 millimeter, I thought it was just a pretty maneuverable paddle to use. It was a very easy transition for me. Now with the 16 millimeter, that's the one where it made me kind of step back and go, wow, this is feeling really different. And it was because of the weight. And not just the weight, overall weight, but also the swing weight. It felt pretty sluggish to me. And I felt like from the baseline, I was able to get a lot of power on my baseline shots, on my drives. I felt like it was really great for playing singles with because I'm not up at the kitchen line as often. When I was using it for doubles, that's when I felt like it was just lagging a little bit for those kind of quick firefights that I like to call. Those where I felt like this paddle struggled a bit.
I agree. My first impressions, I picked up the 16 first because that's what I normally gravitate toward. And this thing is heavy. We weighed both of these. Our 14 millimeter is at 8 ounces and this 16 millimeter was at 8.8. So big difference in playability, obviously. I started to get arm fatigue with the 16 after about one match and I had to set it down. So just about all areas, I preferred the 14. Now, when it comes to power and control, there's definitely a lot of power in the 16 because of that mass. The weight is a little more balanced towards the handle, so there was a lot less maneuverability, kind of like you're saying. With the 14, I appreciated the power I got out of it. I don't think it sacrificed really that much control. But again, the issue for me was just the maneuverability. Getting my paddle in position to where I wanted for those touch shots was just really difficult because I didn't feel like maneuverability was there. If you've hit with the Franklin Ben Johns paddle from about a year or so ago, I would say these paddles play similarly, though you're getting a little increase in power, but you're losing a bit in maneuverability. So if you're familiar with that paddle, that's my opinion on how these play. When it comes to spin, how do you feel these paddles played?
Well, I am a player that likes to hit with a lot of spin, especially on my backhand. I like to hit a lot of slice with it, and I've been working on trying to get more topspin on my forehand drives. And I felt like these paddles with that T700 Raw Carbon Fiber face allowed me to hit plenty of spin on my shots. Feel like they're on par with some of those top level paddles that we've tested in the last couple weeks. So no complaints from me as far as spin goes. But I know you are also a spin player, so thoughts?
When it comes to spin for me, I need a lot of help from the paddle in that department. I don't feel like I can generate it on my own. So I don't feel like these paddles helped me generate a ton of spin. Not to say that the spin wasn't there, I just needed more from the paddle. Now, when it comes to durability, I noticed that, because I was hitting with the 14 so much more than the 16, the surface has definitely worn a bit smoother. With that said, like with a lot of these paddles, I just don't feel like the surface getting smooth is really affecting my spin generation. So I would say noticeable wear on the face for a lot of play, but I didn't see it affect spin.
Speaking of durability, I really appreciate that these paddles come with this thick edge guard all the way around. I'm pretty harsh on my paddles, especially on the slice when I run and try to get a shot low. I tend to scuff up my paddles quite a bit, so I definitely appreciated the edge guard, and I've already put some good wear on these. So yeah, I think that was definitely a big selling point for me.
When looking at the grip, Franklin has stated that this grip was modeled off of a baseball bat. Franklin into baseball. Now, the grooves I liked because my fingers sunk into it when I was doing big strokes, especially at the baseline. When I was at the non-volley zone and I was changing my grip for those micro adjustments, I didn't really appreciate it so much because I felt like my hands weren't in the right position because those grooves got in the way. What did you think of the grip?
The grip for me, I think, was a non-issue. I definitely felt the grooves and I didn't think that there were a reason not to buy. I usually put an overgrip on my grips anyways, so I think that would have covered it up. I will say the length of the grip felt pretty good. I think players that have a two-handed backhand will have a little bit of overlap onto the paddle face, but it's not too bad. I was able to do it without much issue.
Yeah, I would say overall for me, I preferred the 14 over the 16. The power, the control were there for me. I initially didn't really care for the first 2 games I played. It really made me take an adjustment period to it. But after that, I really enjoyed it. I adapted to it. I felt like there was good power. The forgiveness was there. The stability was there. The shape being, more square than what I'm usually playing with. I really appreciated that. Again, it's just that maneuverability story I didn't think was really jiving with me. Getting my hands where I needed them to be just felt clunky. I would recommend the 14 millimeter for intermediate to advanced players who have decent hand speed and can adapt to that maneuverability. The 16, I would recommend for advanced level players and maybe somebody who just benches more than I do.
This is weird for me to say, but I'm gonna agree with Will here. The 14 millimeter I thought was a more versatile paddle. Felt like it was a great paddle from all areas of the court. From the baseline, I felt like I could rip forehands. And it was good on the no volley zone for those quick reactionary volleys and for hitting dinks and angled shots. So the 16 millimeter paddle felt like it was a more advanced player's paddle. It felt for me like more of a singles paddle where it was great for driving shots past my opponent, but definitely not as maneuverable and useful up for doubles. But overall, I think these are solid paddles. They offer that carbon fiber face that you're looking for. They're thermoform paddles, and I think great selling point is the price point of these paddles. That is our review for these new Franklin Dynasty paddles. For more information on Franklin paddles or anything else pickleball related, make sure you go to totalpickleball.com.